What is up, y'all? We're here for our Saturday night secret sermon. This is our little after midnight study of the lost and forbidden gospels. The playlist you can find on my channel is entitled Secret Teachings of Jesus, and there we have delved into the Gnostic Gospels of the secret book of James. We spent about a year and a half really unpacking the Gospel of Philip portion by portion. Very proud of that. And now we are in the Gospel of Mary. And so far, we've covered an introduction in 2 parts and 2 portions of the actual meat of the gospel. And so tonight we are on the 3rd portion entitled The Savior's Farewell. Last week we covered the nature of sin and the good. And the week before that, we talked about the Savior discussing the nature of matter with the disciples. And so these studies have been far out, to say the least. We've gone deep into the metaphysics. We've gone into the spiritual bone work of the structure of the universe. We've talked about quantum mechanics, we've talked about sin and where it comes from and, all kinds of things. So really, really deep and wide topics that we've spanned. So I'm really, really, really loving the Gospel of Mary. All right, so I'm going to do the usual. I will read the portion for you guys a couple of times, and then I will unpack this line for line. There are a lot of footnotes. So, and the footnotes are mostly references to the other gospels that go deeper into these topics. And so, or at least they expound upon them. Maybe they don't go deeper, but they expound upon. So, I will maybe take us through the footnotes once over before we go into the unpacking. All right, let us begin. The Savior's Farewell. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you. And he said, acquire my peace within yourselves. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. Go then, and preach the good news about the kingdom. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I determined for you, nor promulgate the law like a lawyer, or else you'll be dominated by it. After he said these things, he departed from them. Let's read it again. When the Holy One, blessed be he, said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Acquire my peace within yourselves. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. Go then, preach the good news about the kingdom. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I have determined for you, nor promulgate the law like a lawyer, or else you will be dominated by it. And after he said these things, he departed from them. Okay, love this, love this, love this. this passage from Jesus. And I think that this is a couple of concepts that we need right this second in time and in history more than ever. And it's so interesting that the more I do Bible study and the more I think about the context of what the characters in the Bible were dealing with and wrestling with and up against, it's like, has it ever been any different? Or have we gone full circle and we are there again? Almost in the exact scenarios and circumstances and conditions as in biblical times. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And so it makes me wonder, has every generation lived this out? And I think to some degree we do. That's why every year the Torah is read portion by portion, cyclically every year. But I just think that right now, I think that every generation sort of has their own apocalypse, like an exposure of what has been hidden and a great tribulation and revelation that comes from it. However, our particular generation has been turned up to 11. I mean, think about it. Like I'm 42. And so my grandparents were like having babies in the 50s, fighting World War II. They grew up in the Great Depression, in the Dust Bowl era. And that one Great Depression and that one war, there was like the Korean War after that and the Vietnam War, so it wasn't just the one war. But when they look back at their struggle and strife, that's usually the only two things they bring up. Is just that. That was the poignant thing. And it turned them into I don't know, curmudgeons. And I'm thinking we've had what y'all went through all together every year. What? And we're just still trying to just share memes, right? And dance around in inflatable costumes, right? Which, oh my God, you guys, the day was blessed. I am so grateful. The turnout was modestly guessing in the 7 to 8 million range for the No King's Day protest. And there was no violence, and they were reporting, I was trying to understand whether they were just highlighting I thought they meant from New York and to San Diego. We heard there was no real arrests that had to do with the protests by any of the police departments. So at first when I heard that, I was like, oh, are they talking about those two cities? Oh, that's great. But I think that what they meant was in the whole event, they haven't had any significant reports, if any, of any arrests that had to do with the protests. So the whole thing was great and peaceful and positive and joyous, and people loved it. And in France, they sang the national anthem, and they were so sweet. And they had the super frogs there, and they were in solidarity, and they had a Home Alone sign that said "Les Incompetents." And it was just so many great pieces of footage from all over the world. So it was, I think that's really great. But yes, so I forgot. I went into a train of thought, and then I stopped to talk about the protest for a second, and it's okay. We'll be getting into it. I know where we're going here. Okay. So, I'm going to run it through and give you guys some of the footnotes, and then we're going to unpack this. Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, I was saying that this is needed more so now than ever, right? Where, every generation has their own sort of tribulations and revelations, and it feels like this moment right now is so intense and so specifically the biblical times, even to the degree of the proportion of craziness that we're seeing. It's we're seeing the exact purport, when you think about the miracles in the Bible, It's like we're seeing that, but the reverse, like the reverse of miracles. So hopefully we're seeing miracles soon. I think miracles are everywhere and they're all the time. It's just that sometimes they're subtle and we can't perceive them. But yes, okay. So when the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Okay, so what is this footnote? Okay, so this references John 14:27, 20:19, 21 and 26, so the verses, and then Luke 24:36, and then the book Wisdom of Jesus Christ, the third book. I'm not sure if that's in 3 sections or what. Letter of Peter to Philip. So these are just references of like things you can read to expound upon, Christ's peace within you. So be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there, for the child of humanity exists within you. Okay, so that has a footnote too. And this references Matthew 24:4 through 5, 23 through 27, 29 through 30, Mark, Luke, Gospel of Thomas, more of Luke, and it basically the translation is the child of humanity. So the child of humanity is interchangeable with the Son of Man, which was a reference to Jesus in the prophecies. Rather than expect a son of man. Okay, so here we go. So the child of humanity exists within you. So he's saying this rather than in the book Gospel of Mark. I think there's a reference in Mark that says that he's going to arrive on the clouds. So it says, rather than expect a son of man to arrive on the clouds of heaven, as in Mark 13, the disciples are to seek within. You know, it's funny. I hear people all the time, even now, expecting Christ to come back, like showing up on the clouds, like in a chariot, and like the clouds roll back, like almost like a theater production. And I'm always the one over here going, like, I think that the second coming is going to be like a revelation of consciousness coming from within us. And it's like everyone that like, they all look at me like I'm on crazy. So I'm like, I don't think the rapture is really something that's going to happen. I don't think we're just going to get out of this. And everybody else is like, no. And I'm like, no, I have a feeling this isn't real. And as it turns out, it was something that was, this whole theology is from something called dispensationalism. And it was a piece of prophecy, I think Babylonian or Sumerian, found by this man in like the 1800s. And he was like, oh my gosh, this will help me whip people into hysteria. And it was like this apocalyptic writing, which was a really common type of writing in ancient Judaism and Christianity. So it was a whole genre of like style of writing in this way. And so this guy found this piece of Babylonian or Sumerian, I can't remember, prophecy. And he was like, wow, I can use this to whip people into hysteria and control them with their fear and get them to like jump on the bandwagon and promote slavery. And it will be this evangelical like plot. Like this has literally been happening since the 1830s. Like white supremacy trying to hold on to slavery has been weaponizing the scriptures to get people to be radical and zealous and go after these like issues, foaming at the mouth, and they latch onto these prophecies, and they're afraid if they don't go along with certain things that they're not going to be raptured, and certain like predictions about the end times have been like taken and cherry picked and drilled into these people's like subconscious, and everything they do is driven by this fear of the end times and that they won't get raptured. And so this has just leapfrogged over like the last several, like over time, who knows, but how long it was being used before that. But since the 1830s, has just gone from one issue to the next, wherever this particular political agenda needs the Christian vote, whoever they can manipulate, which is usually this one kind of like denomination of people, of extremists, and they've gotten them all, like, I mean, like recently people thought there was going to be a rapture, and then they were like, oh, we messed it up, sorry, we got the calendars confused, so did God, so the rapture is going to be like next week. We like, Jesus didn't know, like, come on. And yeah, so they're, you know what I mean, like these. So the point of, don't let people tell you, look this way, look that way. Like, even down to the fact that, like, people are waiting for, like, the clouds to roll back and for Jesus to roll in on a chariot. And they're not even wanting to even face a scripture like this radical writing here. That's like, actually, you want to go within. Like, that's where you're going to find me. That's where you're going to find my peace. That's where Christ will be awakened within you. That's where the revelation will come through life's tribulations. You will have an apocalypse, a revealing of something that was hidden from you through these tribulations. And that will bring revelation and transformation and awakening. That will save your soul. That will give you rapture. You will be, at that point, saved from the trials and the suffering. But that's too radical. So, okay, so where are we? So follow it. Those who search for it will find it. Okay, so go then and preach the good news. And there is another footnote here. More references that you can have further reading in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Acts. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I have determined for you, nor promulgate law like the lawyer, or else you will be dominated by it. And so more reading in Matthew, the Savior cautions them against making rules and laws beyond his commandments. Funny, I feel like they should maybe point out Paul's contributions to the gospel just after Jesus has left. About 50 years later, suddenly Paul comes on the scene and he's like, I have a new gospel. Jesus gave me a new gospel. Just 50 years after he was crucified for the gospel that he brought, Jesus changed his mind and updated, and now he gave it to me. No, I never studied with Jesus. I never met him. I never studied with any of his disciples. Yes, I was also a Pharisee, which is a lawmaker and promulgator and law enforcement agency of the Jewish people. Yes, I was also a Pharisee. I was a persecutor of Christians. I was anti-Messianic movement to try to uphold the temple, but don't worry, I've seen the error of my ways. I had a come to Jesus moment. I had a vision, and Jesus appeared to me and he gave me a new gospel, and it has all kinds of rules and laws that you're going to be obsessed over, and those are going to be perfect for perpetuating the agenda and the status quo and all the ways that the temple is laid out. We get to just take back what we said about letting women teach, and actually that in Ephesians, that whole thing, that wasn't even more than likely written by Paul. It was not. And so it was like Paul even had like women around him, like Thecla, that was like kind of preaching with him. So many of these things are, when you learn deeper and deeper into theology, you get more context, right? But you see the danger of most of the New Testament is Paul's writing. And it's not even, Jesus is the whole point of the Bible. The whole Old Testament was getting ready for Jesus to come on the scene. And then Jesus comes on the scene and he tells us like it is, point blank, here is the gospel. This is all you need. I give you a light, gentle yoke. Take it on. It'll be easy. And then it's like, that is the most important thing. And yet half the time, everything that people get obsessed over and they were like start worshiping above Jesus is Paul's writings. So you're actually idolizing these books, you know, rather than actually listening to Jesus and listening to his words and understanding him and saying, okay, if you follow me, if you do what I do, if you take on my discipline, my mindset, my consciousness, my heart, you know, then you will find fulfillment. Then you will find peace. Then you will be able to unlock the light of your soul that allows you to like help someone heal in a miraculous way, right? So yes, it's like we need to focus more on Jesus's words than anything else. Everything else that people are focused on, it causes wars and arguments. All it does is cause strife and division and separation. People never truly fight over Jesus's actual words in the Gospels that were written like word for word, what Jesus did and what he said. Like only the worst of the evil people in the world that are trying to achieve world domination right now are arguing with Jesus, right? Most people are like, yeah, that I can't really fault him for saying that. I totally agree. Yep, he's onto something there. Kind of like the guy, honestly. So everything else is like inconsequential when you look at it that way. I mean, I think that's a dangerous statement to say, but you know, let's start with what's the most important. Okay, what did Jesus himself tell us to do? Because what we know about Jesus is that he approved of the Torah. He kept Torah. He kept mitzvah. You know, he agreed with the writings of the prophets. He loved the prophets. I love the prophets. And the Psalms, right? So the Old Testament, Jesus is like stamp of approval. And then you have the New Testament where you have Jesus's mission. And then that's all that Jesus was there for. And Jesus can say with a total, like our total confidence, yes, we have my stamp of approval. Anything else that came after. And it was hearsay. And there was a lot of different directions that Christianity was going in and branching off in. And there was a lot of time between when Jesus was there and when things were being written and published and how long they had been circulating, where they were written and published, which copies, in what language, in what translation, are these the oldest ones? Like, think about it. Like, the original writings would have been more than likely in Aramaic, but then the way that they were preserved and spread out, they were published often in Greek. But the thing is like, even from language to language, there's interpretation. And so the choice of words is so important and so precise. And so by the time we've gotten to our modern day Bibles, you've got 1,000 years plus of people reinterpreting these and updating them. And some of them have political agendas like King James, right? I started reading, like one of the things I was doing this year was shorts, and I was reading the Psalms. And I was reading the Psalms out of a book that has broken down like what you pray each Psalm for, like what they can do as far as like what they're helpful for. Is this a protection psalm, or is this a blessing psalm, or whatever? So in this particular book, the collection was from the King James. And I don't know, sometimes they just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't seem like logical, or it seemed like to contradict itself. But then this year I also ordered these Hebrew transliteration Bibles, which are the original Aramaic, and then you can see the Aramaic lettering and words, and then there's the phonetic spelling of the word pronounced in like with English letters. And then there is the English translation underneath the Aramaic. And so I'm reading the Psalms from the original versions from Aramaic, directly from Aramaic, compared to like the King James version. And it was literally like in the King James version, it was skewed so that it would show preference to power and to king and to the wealthy, and like sort of skim over all the focus it was putting on the poor and the needy. And it was like, it didn't make any sense, because sometimes it would just be repetitive and it would just repeat something almost like it glitched. And it's like, what? And then you read them in side by side in the Hebrew to English translation, and it's like not like that at all. It's like basically equating these powerful oppressors with evil, and it's totally like blessing the poor people and favoring the poor people. The exact opposite of what the King James version tries to flip and do to the script. And so when you're reading it side by side like that, you're like, oh, I smell something here. I smell something foul, like something's amiss, right? So, okay, let's get back to it. All right, so let's read this passage again, and now we're going to talk about it. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. So it's really important that we acquire Christ's peace within ourselves, because that is what helps us establish cause consciousness rather than effect consciousness. When we want to shape ourselves after the likeness of the Creator doesn't have a physical form, right? The Creator is not anthropomorphized. The Creator is disembodied everything. It's like the Creator is within all. All is within the Creator, right? So the Creator, if anything, is this emanating energy and consciousness, right? So if we want to model ourselves after the Creator, then we have to adopt the consciousness of the Creator. Well, the Creator is always the cause. The Creator is not affected by anything, right? And what happens to us when we're affected? We take action that we regret. We act in fear. We act in scarcity. We act in doubt. We want instant gratification. We don't think things through. We're easily distressed. And when we're in a state of distress, we're easily controlled as human beings, right? So, and then in this world, it's like, this is the world of the toil and sort of having to toil for your bread. And there's always difficulty in this world. I mean, if you've ever watched a nature documentary, it's rough out there, right? And the humans have it sort of the most comfortable in a way. So there's always going to be things that can rob us of our peace and of our fulfillment. And the thing is that in order to be connected with the Creator in union with God, we have to have a state of peace and fulfillment within us. Because when we're in distress and we're in fear, we don't vibrationally resonate with the Creator. We're in dissonance. And so what happens is, when we are unified with the Creator, we are protected. We are sheltered. We are in the shade or under the wing of the Creator. We are in the flow of blessing. Think of it as having your umbilical cord connected. You have a strong connection with the Creator. That means you're getting all the nutrients and all the protection, and you're within the Creator. The Creator has you in God's embrace, right? So you're safe. Whenever you're in connection and union with God, nothing terrible can come upon you, right? But how quickly do we sever that connection, separate that connection? Anytime we crash out and get pissy, lose our temper, we get fearful, we get reactive, we buy now while supplies last, or we, blow up and quit and we sell ourselves short, right? We take an action in anger or in panic, and then we make a costly mistake that we regret, right? So when Christ is, he's about to leave his disciples, and he's leaving them with the most important things before he goes. Like, okay, I know that we had a limited amount of time. I had a limited amount of time to teach you. But before I go, I need you to hear this. I need you to listen carefully and take these last clear instructions. Cultivate my peace within you. Nurture that within yourself, because the more you feel that peaceful presence within you, the stronger your faith is. It goes beyond faith. It becomes certainty. The certainty is that even in the midst of the unknown, even when you don't know how something's going to go, and even though everything about it may look bleak, it's like you believe, you have faith that something is with you, something is guiding you, something will make sure that everything is okay. That no matter what, things will work out. That if not this, that this failure will be flipped by your faith, and that it will even allow you to be amplified because of it. And this is the perfect example. The last flotilla, the global Samud flotilla that went out with 40 ships to break the siege on Gaza, they did not know what was going to happen. In fact, they expected to be illegally kidnapped and imprisoned and tortured for an unknown amount of time. And they were determined anyway not to be intimidated, that nothing was going to stop them from getting food and basic medical supplies and baby formula to Gaza. And they broke through the distance that they had previously been stopped at. So they made it further than they ever had before. They were still under attack. They still had all kinds of reasons to be afraid, to quit, to turn back, but they did not. They did not. And they knew that the odds were slim that they would succeed, but they knew that they're just being there, just trying, was doing something. They were doing something, and there was still a chance they could break through. And even down, I'm watching this live as it's happening. This is incredible, the times we live in. It's terrifying, and also amazing that we can literally see these things happening in real time. But I'm sitting there watching these ships trying to outrun the Navy, the Israeli Navy, and they are being captured one boat at a time. And this one team that I'm literally in their live reporting, they're like, oh my gosh, we're still going, we might make it, because it took them all night to capture all the boats. And even one boat, the last one that was left, I think made it within 40,000 miles of the shore. And the people on the beaches of Gaza could see them. They could see them. They were that close. And the flotilla did not make it. But you know what happened? They were able to fish that day because the Navy was too busy to shoot at them while they usually would go out and fish. So they were able to fish that day. They got a huge catch, like when Peter threw down the nets when Jesus told him to, and pulled out the huge catch. Same. It's crazy. It was miraculous. And then we arrived at the ceasefire, which is not perfect, but it's an improvement on what was happening. And hopefully it's the beginning of good things to come. But, we're sleeping with one eye open. But the flotilla, even though they didn't know for sure, they had that certainty. They were like, I don't care. Come what may, God will be with us. We're going to do this. The good is on our side. we are on the right side. We are doing this for the sake of good, for the sake of human dignity, right? So when we cultivate that peace within us, we can make peace with things that we don't know. We can make peace with our fears. We can make peace with our mortality. We can make peace with a lot of uncertainty when we have the peace of Christ within us, because we understand on a deeper level at that point that there's something beyond just this material realm, and that this is temporary, but there's something eternal that is dwelling within me, and that gives me a link to that eternal realm, and that gives me the belief that what is eternal in me is recognizing that eternity. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Now, when you're in a state of peace, the kind of peace that is God's rest, that is Christ's peace, it's like your nervous system can calm down. A lot of the ailments that you're having from extra stress, extra cortisol, like all of these things that we worry about and we have all of this distress over, causes us health issues. So having that deep sense of inner peace already starts to physically repair our body, but it helps to repair our heart and our soul. And we become more chill, and we can relax, and we're not on guard and on edge and trying to control every little thing. It's like you kind of get more perspective, and you're like, what's the rush? Only the grave's awaiting, let's chill, let's enjoy, let's be patient, let's, focus on things that matter, focus on things of eternal value, So when the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard. And also, one last thing about acquire my peace within yourselves. When you have a deep sense of inner peace, you become a beacon of peace and comfort for those around you. And you become like a walking air freshener to your environment. Like if vibration was like a thermostat, whoever has the most impression, like the strongest signal is going to affect the room, right? And so if you are at deep peace and nothing is shaking you out of your peace, and you are cool, calm, and collected, and you feel confidence and certainty, then you can walk into a room that is in chaos and disarray, and just your presence, if you can hold that energy, will calm the room down. It will begin to calm the space down. Have you ever been around a dog who's too excited about everything? If you match that energy, the dog goes crazier, goes berserk. But if you are calm and you don't react to the dog, eventually the dog starts to feel silly and the dog calms down. Same with toddlers. If you just calmly look at a toddler who's thrown a fit and you just kind of give them the look like, is this really how you want to act? And you don't respond and you're very calm, like eventually they start to feel silly and they're like, my nephew was a tyrant when he was little, and that's how I would do him. And he would just start to get to where he was like, okay, I feel dumb acting like this. You're making me feel like an ass. And he got it. And like when we were hanging out, he was cool. He was chill. Other people, he would still act like a dick. But when he was hanging out with me, he would have manners. Never had to, exert any force. Just be calm, be chill, set the tone. Okay. So when the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. So be on your guard. And so that no one deceives you, right? Because in this world, you have people who are literally taking the Bible and weaponizing it right now. At first, before, we would just be like, oh yeah, these people will tell you you have to be Catholic, and these people will tell you have to be Protestant, and these people will tell you that you have to be Jewish, and these people will tell you have to be Muslim to find God. Now it's like you have people like of some denominations telling other denominations that the only way to be correct is to be like them. And your freedom is at stake if you don't agree with them. This is where we've come to. This is insane. We're back in the dark ages. So this is written for times just like now, and from the medieval times and from biblical times, that people are going to tell you, and back in the day, like the Samaritan woman had the issue with God, or Jesus. She was like, okay, well, you say I can only go to Jerusalem and take my sacrifice and worship there in the temple, but I'm not allowed in the temple because I'm a dirty Samaritan woman, right? So I'm just like left out of religion, right? So that was an issue at the time. Like they had a hierarchy, they had a system, and you had to go report to Jerusalem to make sacrifices at this temple, or else like your sins weren't nullified. And so Jesus had come to tell people, like, this is not the way. Like, you no longer have to report to anywhere, to anyone. You will find me within yourself. You can go within and worship. You can go into a wild place all alone and worship. Go into your closet, close the door and pray. Right? You don't have to, like, nobody owns your connection to God. That is your own personal relationship. So people will tell you that because they have an agenda. And whether it's money or power or both, usually, they want you to fall in line and be submissive and go with the system and go with the flow and keep reporting. If nobody has to report to the system, then guess what? That whole ecosystem goes down and withers, right? So they don't want people to think that they can just be out liberated with their own relationship and not have to answer or pay anyone specific, right? So they're going to tell you go this way, look that way. I mean, literally, the Third Reich had their own version of Christianity, and if you didn't believe in that version of Christianity, then you would be severely punished and hunted down and tormented and oppressed and put upon. Sound familiar? Sound like the direction that anything's going in these days? So it's very important. This whole channel, the whole time I've been on this channel, I've been trying to teach everyone that watches my videos to learn how to cultivate that peace within, so that they can hear that small whisper from within that's quieter than the loud voices of indoctrination that are yelling from within also. So you've got to go underneath all the outside influences and all the ones that have been implanted in you that sound like your spirit talking to you, but that's not it either. It's still just the ego messing with your head. You've got to go down and you've got to find Jesus's peace that helps break through all of that noise and go deep within to that quiet whisper of the Holy Spirit coming through. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. Nobody owns it. For the child of humanity exists within you. The Son of Man exists within you. The Spirit of Christ exists within you. Follow it. You know your soul when it's impressing upon you. And you know when you're ignoring it. And it's making you sweat and you're getting high blood pressure because you're pushing your soul away and you know it. And eventually your ego just builds up this veil and the shell to make you feel like you have plausible deniability. But you know the feeling of your soul. You know when it's pulling you in a direction, and you know when you should be going in a direction you're not, and it's tugging at you and it won't leave you alone. Right? So be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there, for the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. For those who search for it will find it. If you truly want to find the voice of Christ within you and you want to get through all that negativity, like those who are truly sincere, they do have revelation and they do have wisdom revealed to them, and they even unlock certain abilities and what you might call powers within themselves. But these are only revealed when you truly earn it and you can truly be trusted with that kind of responsibility. It's not going to be revealed by someone who's just going to be haphazard and abuse it and use it for ill will. But those who search for it will find it. Because the moment you truly have a desire to be on the spiritual path and to awaken your soul and to correct your soul, it's like life starts the process and you can't escape it. It's like unescapable. So if you search for it, you will find it. That is the promise of Christ. That is the promise of God. If you search me out, you will find me. If you, like Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, always there, omnipresent, always. The only thing that separates us from what is already there all the time is our ability to open our eyes, open our ears, our willingness to connect with it, our willingness to open ourselves to that. And so if we make an effort, the vessel opens and we receive. Go then, preach the good news about the kingdom. But do not lay down any rule beyond what I determine for you, nor promulgate law like the lawgiver, or else you will be dominated by it. Now, Jesus explicitly says, don't add anything to what I've said. I have taken things off the plate on purpose. If I wanted to say it, I would have said it. I came here to say what I said. I didn't overstay and say more than I wanted to say. I came here, I didn't say less than I needed to say. I came here and said everything I intended to say and did everything I intended to do, and not one thing more, so don't add to it. Stick with the program. Because there's some motherfucker showing up about 50 years and he's going to try to add a lot to it. And people are going to be more obsessed with that, Paul's writings, than they are about what I have just told you. So what's the likelihood that in 50 years from the other side, Jesus would be like, I know that my whole purpose was to be born on earth and spread the gospel and do all these acts and leave you with my teachings. But after 50 years, I want to come back and wipe the slate clean. I'm going to appear to Paul, not any of the living disciples, but I'm going to appear to this Paul and give him a whole new gospel. And it's going to kind of conveniently fall back in with some of the old trappings of the temple that I came here to undo. Weird, right? A lot of, I think somebody, I wish I had the video handy, but somebody went through the New Testament and pointed out all the books that were Paul's writings that are presumably not even written by Paul. Like the Antiquity can't prove they're written by Paul, and a lot of times they don't match his writing at all anyway. So where did those writings come from? Who were they? We don't even know. They just like, they're like, well, we're probably Paul's. Probably, it seems like Paul. But yet, these are the things that people latched onto about Christianity the most and shaped society and monarchy and the patriarchy and systems of power that are built upon oppressing people and gatekeeping. All that was built upon all that extra, right? What Jesus warned us about. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I have determined for you, nor promulgate law like the lawgiver, or else you will be dominated by it. And what is happening, what is the problem today, is that so many Christians of generations and generations and generations of Christians have been so obsessed with keeping the law and following the rules and being pious that they've completely disconnected from the importance of what their heart is like. Are you a generous person who cares about your neighbor? Do you wish them ill? Are you voting against them? Are you making life harder on them? Or are you using the resources and the gifts that you've been blessed with to share with others? Are you trying to help the world? Right? Are you doing the things that make you a Christian with the fruits of the Spirit within you? Have you become like more kind, loving, joyous, peaceful, or patient? Are you grateful? Are you appreciative? Are you faithful? Do you have self-control? Like, or are you wallowing in the 7 deadly sins? The most dangerous of recent has been ignorance, lust, slothfulness, wrath, like all of these things, they're deadly. And we see, because they're so amplified in the world right now, we're like, oh, wow, we should have taken them more seriously. Things have really gotten out of hand, right? So, yeah, it's like, don't lay down all these rules and then promulgate them like lawyers, because you're going to be dominated by it completely. You're going to be obsessed by it. I came here to liberate you. I came here to give you the core essentials that will liberate your soul and free your spirit. And then it's like everybody was like, no, I want to suffer. I want to do it the hard way. I want to, hold on to the chains that bind me. So so we see after, 2,000 years after Christ, what obsession over the law has done. It's like we have people who have literally woven the Bible into the law, and the Bible's laws into the law, and the law into the religion. Like, it's just like, and then now the backlash of this is that people are like, no, we've got to set the record straight. So there's been a lot more interesting Christ-driven content, I think, online coming from, people who may not have been out in the public otherwise, that are making sure that people understand Christ's true message. And they're trying to deconstruct how the Bible has been weaponized for the last 2,000 years so that we can rebuild the temple from within. After he said these things, he departed from them. So he ascended. Now, Jesus was, according to the Pistis Sophia, Jesus and other books, Jesus was coming back after he resurrected to meet with the disciples for a period of 11 years, giving them additional teachings. And after that period of 11 years, that is when he fully ascended and received the fullness of his holy vestments, meaning that light that makes Jesus glow so radiantly that people can barely look at him. Like, that is his vestments of the light that they were put upon him. So Jesus came back, communicated with the disciples for 11 years before he ascended fully. So let's read this one more time. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. Go then, preach the good news about the kingdom. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I have determined for you, nor promulgate law like the lawyer, or else you will be dominated by it. After he said these things, he departed. Now again, with this, be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. I mean, this is also a warning about just being so gullible that you just buy into propaganda or marketing, right? I mean, even just like I've known people that just believe commercials and they just trust these corporations. And, you know, I mean, a lot of people were very trusting until, like, I guess the last 30 years, you know, we've come a long way with, like, food documentaries and things that expose, like, the manufacturing, like, corporate food systems, factory food systems, all of that. Exposing, you know, what's really in the food and what's really being, you know, used on the plants and all of this stuff. And it's like, for a lot of people, this was like surprise and they were disillusioned. But I have always been in tune with my instincts and with my intuition. And none of this was a surprise to me. In fact, I was the weirdo trying to tell people, you know, in my family these things before, you know, there were all these documentaries. Like, it was just like, to me, it was just like almost common sense that processed food wouldn't be good for you, right? But like, people didn't catch on until it started becoming like exposed, right, through documentaries and the media. But it's not just listening to people telling you where to find God. Go over here. I've got the corner of the market on God. I've got the exclusive on God. It's everything. It's, be careful, be on your guard. Everyone's going to try to steer you this way and that. Everyone's got an agenda. Everyone's trying to sell you something. Everybody wants something from you, whether it be your attention, whether it be your dollars, whether it be your vote or your complicitness or whatever it is. They want something from you. And so we have to be sovereign over our consciousness, because wherever we look, there are subtle things that are trying to influence that consciousness for someone else's benefit. So in order to own your own sovereignty within the cosmos, you have to own your own mind. You have to own your own thoughts, right? So that no one else will be able to manipulate and steer you, or else they will. And you'll be a slave to that, and you won't even know it. You won't know that you're a puppet being pulled in this way and that. Just pull the strings, you know? And that's why Jesus came here, to awaken us, to tell us the truth, to say, all right, don't let anybody tell you to look this way and that. And that's why they killed him. That is why they killed him, along with every other one of the prophets. The prophets always got killed because they were the ones speaking truth to power. And if you've ever been a person that says things, I always say this about myself. I'm like, man, if I could only just find a place where I could, you know, like fly to the radar, just blend in and like not make a thing, not make a fuss, not be one of those people. But no, I'm a person who says things. So I know how it feels. I'm one of the prophets. I'm always the one, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here pointing it out, but like nobody wants to hear it. Everybody wants to ignore the issue. Nobody wants to be faced with a thing or themselves or whatever. They just want to bury their heads in the sand and live in ignorant bliss. So yes, people who tell the truth, who try to shake things up and create change, are usually inconvenient, and many times are people want to put these people to silence, right? And so they try to defame them and they try to shut them up. And if they have to, Jesus got crucified, and he knew that was what was going to happen. He knew this as he was saying the things he was doing, and as he was doing the acts that he was performing. He knew where it was going, and he knew he had a limited amount of time before it all caught up to him. Okay, let's read the passage one more time and then we're finished. When the Blessed One had said these things, he greeted them all. Peace be with you, he said. Acquire my peace within yourselves. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. Go then and preach the good news about the kingdom. Do not lay down any rule beyond what I have determined for you, nor promulgate law like the lawyer, or else you will be dominated by it. After he said these things, he departed from them. All right, that's all for tonight. We will be back together tomorrow for our weekly energy oracle forecast, where we will be getting our spiritual energy weather report for the week ahead. All right, you all, until then, peace be with you. Ciao.